Thank you for visiting my channel. Before we start, please hit the subscribe, like, and share buttons to receive notification of future presentations. Our topic for discussion is trust under Articles 1440 to 1457 of the New Civil Code. Article 1440 of the New Civil Code provides, a person who establishes a trust is called the trustor. One in whom confidence is reposed as regards property for the benefit of another person is known as the trustee, and the person for whose benefit the trust has been created is referred to as the beneficiary. On the right side of the slide is a diagram showing the parties to a trust. On top is the trustor or grantor. He transfers property to the trustee or grantee. The trustee or grantee is the holder and manager. He manages the property for the benefit of the beneficiary. From the foregoing article and diagram, we learn that there are three parties to a contract of trust: the trustor, the trustee, and the beneficiary. The trustor or grantor is the person who creates the trust and transfers property or assets to another party. He sets the terms and conditions of the trust. Example, a father establishes a trust fund for his children's education. The trustee or grantee is the person or entity that holds and manages the trust property for the benefit of another. He has a fiduciary duty to act in the best interest of the beneficiary. He can be an individual, a legal entity like a bank or a law firm, or multiple persons. Example, a bank is appointed as a trustee to manage an inheritance until the child reaches legal age. And the beneficiary is the person or group who benefits from the trust. He has the right to receive income, assets, or other benefits as specified in the trust agreement. Example, a child receives a trust fund for education. Article 1441 provides, trusts are either express or implied. Express trusts are created by the intention of the trustor or of the parties. Implied trusts come into being by operation of law. Article 1442. The principles of the general law of trusts, insofar as they are not in conflict with this code, the Code of Commerce, the rules of court, and special laws, are hereby adopted. From the foregoing, we learn that there are two kinds of trust: the express trusts and the implied trusts. Express trusts are created intentionally by the trustor or the person who establishes the trust, or by agreement between parties. These are typically written and legally documented. On the other hand, implied trusts arise automatically due to legal principles, such as when property is transferred under circumstances that imply a trust relationship, even if there is no explicit agreement. The following are the rules or guidelines governing express trusts. Article 1443 provides, no express trusts concerning an immovable or any interest therein may be proved by parole evidence. What is parole evidence? The parole evidence rule is a rule in the law on evidence that applies to written contracts. Written contracts are deemed complete and final agreements outlining the rights and obligations of parties. On the other hand, parole evidence is evidence that is not included in the written contract. Hence, the parole evidence rule seeks to prevent parties to a written contract from producing extra or extrinsic evidence of terms that are not provided in the complete and finalized written agreement itself. In fine, the parole evidence rule considers only final written contracts and provides that extra or extrinsic evidence cannot be introduced to contradict, vary, or modify the written agreement. Article 1444. No particular words are required for the creation of an express trust, it being sufficient that a trust is clearly intended. An express trust does not need specific or formal wordings. There is no required set of words like "I hereby create a trust" for a trust to be valid. The key factor is intent. As long as the intention to create a trust is clearly shown in the writing, the trust is valid. A written agreement must reflect the trust. While specific wording is not needed, the document should clearly indicate that one party holds property for the benefit of another. Article 1445. No trust shall fail because the trustee appointed declines the designation unless the contrary should appear in the instrument constituting the trust. A trust will not automatically fail just because the appointed trustee refuses to accept the role. Instead, the trust will continue to exist and the court may appoint a new trustee if necessary. However, an exception applies if the trust instrument explicitly states that the trust should terminate if the designated trustee does not accept the appointment. This provision ensures that the intent of the trustor is upheld and that trusts are not easily invalidated due to a trustee's refusal to accept the designation. Article 1446. Acceptance by the beneficiary is necessary. Nevertheless, if the trust imposes no onerous condition upon the beneficiary, his acceptance shall be presumed if there is no proof to the contrary. The beneficiary must accept the trust. A trust is only effective if the beneficiary agrees to receive the benefits. However, if the trust does not require the beneficiary to give, to do, or not to do anything in consideration thereof, acceptance is presumed unless proven otherwise. On the other hand, if the beneficiary does not want the trust, he must explicitly reject it. Otherwise, silence is considered acceptance. Now we move on to the second type of trusts, the implied trusts. Article 1447. The enumeration of the following cases of implied trust does not exclude others established by the general law of trust, but the limitation laid down in Article 1442 shall be applicable. This article clarifies that while the Civil Code lists certain instances of implied trusts, these are not exhaustive. Other forms of implied trust may exist based on general legal principles. This provision ensures that courts have the discretion to recognize implied trusts even if they are not explicitly stated in the Civil Code, as long as they are supported by legal doctrines, jurisprudence, or equity principles. This suggests that customary legal practices, case law, and fundamental trust principles can establish additional implied trusts beyond those specifically listed in the Civil Code. The first type of implied trust is provided for under Article 1448. It says, there is an implied trust when property is sold and the legal estate is granted to one party, but the price is paid by another for the purpose of having the beneficial interest of the property. The former is the trustee, while the latter is the beneficiary. However, if the person to whom the title is conveyed is a child, legitimate or illegitimate, of the one paying the price of the sale, no trust is implied by law, it being disputably presumed that there is a gift in favor of the child. Here are illustrations of this article. The first illustration is where there is an implied trust. Anna buys a house and lot for 5 million pesos, but instead of putting the property title in her own name, she registers it under Ben's name. Ben did not contribute any money to the purchase of the property. In this case, Ben is the trustee and Anna is the beneficiary. The second illustration is where there is a donation and not an implied trust. Juan buys a condominium unit for 3 million pesos and registers the title under his daughter Maria's name. Since Maria is Juan's child, the law presumes that Juan intended to give it as a gift or donation, not as a trust. If Juan later claims that Maria is only holding the property for him as trustee, he must disprove the presumption of a gift by showing strong evidence, like a written agreement or proof that he did not intend to give it to her. The second type of implied trust is provided for under Article 1449, which says, there is also an implied trust when a donation is made to a person, but it appears that although the legal estate is transmitted to the donee, he nevertheless is either to have no beneficial interest or only a part thereof. For example, Juan donates a piece of land to Pedro. However, their agreement states that Pedro is only holding the land for the benefit of Juan. Even though Pedro's name appears on the title, he is not the real owner. He is only holding it in trust for Juan. Pedro is a trustee and Juan is the beneficiary. If Pedro tries to claim full ownership, an implied trust can be proven in court. The third type of implied trust is provided for under Article 1450, which says, if the price of a sale of property is loaned or paid by one person for the benefit of another, and the conveyance is made to the lender or payer to secure the payment of the debt, a trust arises by operation of law in favor of the person to whom the money is loaned or for whom it is paid. The latter may redeem the property and compel a conveyance. For example, Maria wants to buy a piece of land but has no cash, so she borrows money from Juana who pays for the property. However, the land title is registered in Juana's name as security for the loan. Juana is the trustee and Maria is the beneficiary. Since the purchase was actually for Maria's benefit, she can redeem the property by repaying Juana and demand that the title be transferred to her. If Juana refuses, Maria can invoke implied trust under this article. The fourth type of implied trust is provided for under Article 1451, which says, when land passes by succession to any person and he causes the legal title to be put in the name of another, a trust is established by implication of law for the benefit of the true owner. For example, Juan inherits land from his father, but instead of registering it under his own name, he puts it in Pedro's name, his relative. Juan is the true owner or beneficiary, and Pedro is the trustee. Later, if Pedro refuses to return the title, Juan can invoke implied trust under Article 1451 to claim his rightful ownership. The fifth type of implied trust is provided for under Article 1452, which says, if two or more persons agree to purchase property and by common consent the legal title is taken in the name of one of them for the benefit of all, a trust is created by force of law in favor of the others in proportion to the interest of each. Example, Anna, Ben, and Carla pooled their money to buy a piece of land. However, they agree to register the title only in Anna's name for convenience. Anna is the trustee. Later, if Anna refuses to recognize Ben and Carla's ownership shares, they can invoke Article 1452 to claim their respective portions. The sixth type of implied trust is provided for under Article 1453, which says, when property is conveyed to a person in reliance upon his declared intention to hold it for or transfer it to another or the grantor, there is an implied trust in favor of the person whose benefit is contemplated. For example, Maria buys land and registers it under her brother Juan's name because Juan promised to transfer the title to Maria's daughter Carla once the latter turns 18. Juan is the trustee and Carla the beneficiary. If Juan refuses and claims ownership, Maria's daughter can invoke Article 1453 to assert her right. The seventh type of implied trust is provided for under Article 1454, which says, if an absolute conveyance of property is made in order to secure the performance of an obligation of the grantor toward the grantee, a trust by virtue of law is established. If the fulfillment of the obligation is offered by the grantor when it becomes due, he may demand the reconveyance of the property to him. For example, Juan transfers his land to Pedro as absolute owner, but only to secure a loan that Juan had secured from Pedro. Juan is the trustor and Pedro is the trustee. Once Juan pays the loan, Pedro must return the land to Juan. If Pedro refuses, Juan can invoke Article 1454 to recover it. The eighth type of implied trust is provided for under Article 1455, which says, when any trustee, guardian, or other person holding a fiduciary relationship uses the trust funds for the purchase of a property and causes the conveyance to be made to him or to a third person, a trust is established by operation of law in favor of the person to whom the funds belong. For example, a guardian of a minor misappropriates the minor's money to buy property under his name. The guardian is the trustee and the minor is the beneficiary. Under Article 1455, the property rightfully belongs to the minor. The guardian must return it or be held liable. The ninth type of implied trust is provided for under Article 1456, which says, if property is acquired through mistake or fraud, the person obtaining it is, by force of law, considered a trustee of an implied trust for the benefit of the person from whom the property comes. Here is an example of property acquired through mistake. A bank mistakenly deposits 1 million pesos into Juan's account. He is a trustee of an implied trust in favor of the bank and must return the money to the bank. And here is an example of property acquired through fraud. Pedro falsifies a deed of sale to acquire Maria's land. Under Article 1456, Pedro holds the land in trust for Maria, who can recover it through legal means. Article 1457. An implied trust may be proved by oral evidence. This provision allows oral evidence to establish the existence of an implied trust. Unlike express trusts, which require a written document and parole evidence is not allowed, implied trusts may be inferred from conduct, circumstances, or verbal agreements. Generally, contracts involving real property must be in writing to be enforceable. However, this article serves as an exception to the statute of frauds, permitting verbal testimony to prove an implied trust. Now we move to the prescription of action. In express trusts, actions are imprescriptible unless there is a clear and unequivocal repudiation by the trustee which must be made known to the beneficiary, in which case the action to recover ownership prescribes in 10 years from said repudiation. In implied trusts, actions prescribe in 10 years from the time the trust is repudiated or when the trustee asserts ownership adverse to the beneficiary. However, if the beneficiary is in continuous possession of the property, the action may be imprescriptible. Here are some court rulings on prescription. And here are some bar questions on trust. Thank you. If you find this presentation helpful, please subscribe to receive notification of future lectures.